What's up, guys? What's going on? Dank Rage here, and today I got a pretty awesome video for you. Blade just came out on Friday. Been playing him over the weekend. Really liking him. I'm super excited to get this video out for you guys today. So, what I got for you is we're gonna go just through the leveling build that I have for Blade. I went in melee this time. I did already run through range previously, so it was all right. It was fun. I mean, both of the builds were really fun. I really enjoyed them both. However, it just feels, with Blade, you want to get up and close and start swinging your sword around and hitting people, right? So that's my plan, at least whenever I decided to build him up. So here we go. Pretty much using primarily Vampire Hunter. Do go a little bit into Daywalker, but those are just for the passives and everything like that. So in Vampire Hunter, just one into your basic is fine. Hack and slash, just fine. In the end, I don't use a basic just because I feel like his spirit has a lot of regen with power dupe and all the other kind of mechanics that he has. So I really don't even use a basic. Glaive Orbit for nice little AoE bleed action, because of course your spell or your abilities do more damage depending on what ability you use towards bleeding enemies. So having somebody be bleeding is awesome. So Glaive Orbit definitely helps in that. Any Means Necessary is essentially your pseudo basic. It's going to be your spamming ability. You're going to be doing tons of damage with it. It's really good, especially with the serum active, another 10% damage and attack speed. Not bad. Stake Through the Heart for your execute does a nice big chunk of damage when your enemy gets around 30-40% HP. You start seeing huge chunks go down, especially since the execute does do 1% extra damage per 1% missing health. Always good. And it does share the cooldown with Stake Thrower, so if you are running a range build, you can't do double execute, sadly, but I digress. The signature for the melee build is Advanced Technique. It's a kind of a 3 proc. You can hit it up to 3 times within 5 seconds to do a multiple tier type attack. As you can see here, you got your invulnerability and invisibility for the first one, a nice big burst of damage on the second attack, and then a huge little flurry down there at the very bottom for the third blade, Shattered Moon. I really like his signature. It's got a decent cooldown. It does feel a little bit shorter than 40 seconds, but that's just because once you activate it, the cooldown starts. So that's all the Vampire Hunter. Go over to Daywalker Serum. It's a great passive. It also kind of goes hand in hand with your thirst mechanic. Lots of good passives on there: damage negation, dodge, defense, just straight evasion. And of course, Constitution with the health regen. It's really good for any kind of small little bit of health issues you may have. And of course, when you activate it, you do regen 10% of your max health, and an additional 20% if you're starving. So if you go all the way to full thirst and you start seeing the little veins and shit go around the outside of your screen, that's when you're starving, and you're gonna gain an extra 30% or an extra 20% health back by using the serum versus just waiting until maybe half or 3/4 full. You also get your 10% damage buff and a 10% attack speed and move speed when you proc the serum. So, and it's just whether you're starving or whether you're halfway through or you're halfway into being thirsty, the bonuses from the serum will depend on whether you're full or half or whatever. Deadly Dash is going to be your movement ability. If you don't use a ziggurat to get around, Deadly Dash is going to be just fine. It also increases your dodge chance for 5 seconds, and apparently dodge is pretty fucking good now. So that might be an option for you guys if you don't plan on using a ziggurat to get around, just because Blade feels a little bit slow. Just because he doesn't really have a whole lot of mobility outside of his dash. Now he does have a Party Crasher, which is a huge kind of like jump AoE. Think of it like one of Thor's abilities, Asgardian Smash, I think it is. He jumps up in the air and does like a huge AoE when he lands. That's kind of what Party Crasher is. And it also applies vulnerability, which is really good. Extra 10% damage. And then probably one of the best passive that Blade has is Long Lived. Damage rating, crit, and brute strike, plus regen when you hit with a melee power. So obviously this doesn't proc whenever you mainly use a range build, but I'm sure you could probably swing in some kind of melee ability in there to proc that. So that's it for the powers. Pretty simple. I'm pretty close to getting or 50s into all of them. I just need to tweak a little bit of skills on the gear. But as you see, you know, Stake Through the Heart, Glaive Orbit, Long Lived, and Serum are already at 50, and then a few of them are close to 50, and Party Crasher is probably the lowest next to Deadly Dash, but I'm not going to max out Deadly Dash anyway. So perfectly fine. But yeah, this is the melee leveling build that I plan to use with Blade the entire time that I'm prestiging him. And I'm at green right now, so I got about 4 more to go. With blue, purple, red, or blue, purple, orange, red, and then Cosmic eventually. We'll go into Omegas. For me, it's a pretty standard melee setup. Melee physical setup.
We best prepare before it arrives.
Yes, Blade. In Human Augmentation, full points into Reaver program. Now, but again, let me back up just a little bit. My Omega points are for, or my Omega point setups are for fully maxed out Omega players. Now, if you don't have full Omegas, if you only have a couple thousand, then you'll want to go into Spin Tech first, followed by Warpath. And after that is pretty much whatever kind of damage you do, physical, energy, mental. You want to look for those, kind of like Reaver program does base physical damage. You'll want to find nodes for, you know, your damage type and whether it's melee or ranged. But excuse me, for fully maxed Omega players, this is what I use. Yeah. So Reaver program and Human Augmentation, fully maxed out Melt Face, 15 into Shadow Kings. I actually still have my ranged Blade Omegas going, so let's just do this. We'll just start over and do it this way. So full into Reaver, 40 into Melt Face, 15 into Shadow Kings under Psionics. Under Molecular Adjustment, you'll just go 1 into Terrigen and 1 into Zero Gen for the passive procs. Neural Enhancement, you can go Guild Suppression Research. I kind of like it because Blade doesn't seem to have a whole lot of spirit issues once you get to 60 and throw a power dupe on him. So I mean, that's perfectly fine. You lose 10 spirit, but you gain 10 back when you defeat a single enemy. So the trade-offs. Tactical Neural Implant, really good for melee characters. Under Arcane Attunement, you don't need anything. Not here. Don't need anything in special weapons if you're running melee. We'll run 2 into Sabretooth under Mutation, 1 into Angel to get the Warpath, full points into Frenzy for the crit damage bonus when you hit with a melee power. Swing over to Radioactive, we'll save that for last. You got Spin Tech here, also noting a very amazingly beneficial and cost point efficient node in the entire game. Just straight boss damage. It's good stuff. Always a should be first pick for newer players or low Omega players. And then for the last bit of points I have, I usually go 2 into Harpy, 1 into Lyra, just for the reduction cost and the crit damage. And with Harpy, you're getting critical hit and brutal strike rating 4 or 5 seconds when you hit with melee power. And if you're playing melee, that's all you're going to do. So lots of extra bonus multiplier stats there. And going into the hero synergy for the last little bit of the guide, I guess you could say. For the synergies, Ant-Man, Cable, Colossus, Moon Knight, Mr. Fantastic, Nightcrawler, Squirrel Girl, War Machine, Wolverine, and X-23. Lots of fighting, lots of strength, lots of physical and melee damage, and also a nice little chunk of extra damage versus bleeding, which of course Blade does. So you're just packing on the damage here, packing it on. Now, as far as the rotation goes, I'll just lay out what I use. I'll start out with Party Crasher for the vulnerability, then getting real close, throwing Glaive Orbit for the bleed to start out. Throw a few little mini means if necessary just to charge up my thirst a little bit more. And then if I can get close enough for Toxin Loaded Gauntlets, do a quick little combo. And then once all my abilities are at least on cooldown and I go through the entire rotation, pop the signature, and then throw down an axe or a stake through the heart just for the full rotation. So vulnerability, bleed, spam a little bit, throw in a quick little combo, advanced techniques, serum if you're full, and then stake through the heart. There you go. Or you could even, if you want to charge up your thirst first, and then serum, and then run your combo, that's just even more damage. So it's up to you guys. Up to you guys. You know, depending on what kind of boss or what kind of, I guess, dungeon or whatever kind of event that I'm in, you know, you kind of got to think on the fly with the rotation. You got to be able to adjust and take into account other things, such as AoE on the ground, or maybe a one-shot mechanic that you can't necessarily dodge for some reason. I don't know. But rotations will vary depending on the situation, so don't take anything as concrete, but, you know, hopefully it helped you out a little bit. So if you guys enjoyed the video, man, give it a like. Subscribe if you want to. We got more content coming, so I really appreciate the love, and hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Peace.